Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Star Groove from the Phoenix Funketos, graffiti writer and toy dealer here from Phoenix, Arizona. And these are 5 records that I will never get rid of. All right, first record right here. A lot of the records that I'm gonna showcase today that I will never get rid of have either been gifts or they have some other story that goes with them. This record right here was gifted to me by Johnny D. It is a 45 by Okema, and one of the coolest things about this record right here is this is some funk from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona to be specific. This is a map of Phoenix from back in the day, and we were at the Valley Vinyl Club anniversary, and Johnny spun this record right here, and it was pretty impressive, and he actually gifted it to me there at the show. He signed it, told me to stay soulful, and this is something that I will cherish. It's very limited to impress. The limited, it was a record that never came out, and when they pressed it, it was very limited, so this is something that I will never get rid of. I don't even know where you would get it in the first place. I'm not sure where he got it, but super cool. So that's my first record right there. Shout out to Johnny D. Shout out to the Valley Vinyl Club. Second record, this was another gift gifted to me by a good friend, Daryl D. Shout out to Daryl D right here. I had the record, and he asked me if he could take it to New York City with him, and he goes to New York City every year, and he was fortunate enough to get me all of these autographs from all of these legends in the hip-hop game right here, and I was blown away by how many people he got to sign this record for me right here. And one, I love the record already. If you're a fan of the Wild Style movie, this is a wonderful, great album, and this is the instrumental version, I believe, right here. I could be wrong, but I believe it is. So this is part of history to me. This is a really dope hip-hop fan piece that I will never get rid of. I don't even think I can meet all of those people unless I go to New York myself and go to a park jam and be involved in the scene out there. So really dope gift. Shout out to Daryl, shout out to everyone that signed the record. Big hip-hop fan. So this is record number 2 that I will never get rid of. All right, on to number 3. 3 is a stack, and it's funny because it's actually a stack of 3 records, so that's perfect. I'm a huge underground hip-hop fan that goes back to the writing days, to me being an artist prior to me being a DJ. And one of my favorite groups of all time is none other than Company Flow, Big Just, LP, and Mr. Len. And I brought a stack of 3 that I will never get rid of. I didn't want to bring them all, but these are some of my highlights within all of my Big Just records. So the first record that is in this stack of 3 is Big Just, Poor People. I do have 2 copies of this as well. And cool thing is these were purchased at Underground Hip Hop in Las Vegas. So that store does not exist any longer, but it was an awesome store if you were ever in Vegas, and it was Hip Hop Site. Yeah, Hip Hop Site. Hip Hop Site was a store that carried some of the most dopest records for hip hop, rap music, all of that stuff I had never seen before, this being one of them. But this was Poor People's Day. This is well after Big Just's him leaving the Company Flow group right here. It's got a cool picture on the back of just some imagery. It says Liberty, and it's got the Statue of Liberty there, kind of like a stencil. Really dope album. He talks a lot about subversive music, talking about the government, where we're at and stuff. This is his first album. This is Black Mamba Serums 2.0, and this is one of my favorite albums of all time, put out by the man himself, Big Justoleum. He is also a writer. He writes Loon TNS. If you don't know, New York City. Shout out to the Master Blasters. Got my shirt on right here. And the last but not least, this is Nephilim Modulation Systems with Orko Elohim. If you know anything about this, when 9/11 happened, he was working in the World Trade Center building. Once that building was gone, he made this album when he moved, I want to say, to Atlanta. He was working on this project, and he's talking a lot about the government. Back then it was George Bush doing all these wild things. A lot of good information in this album right here. So something that I will never get rid of. I play this to this day, and it's still relevant what's going on right now. So shout out to Big Justolium, shout out to Loon TNS, his writer, Alias, and Company Flow. So one of the greatest groups of all time in underground hip hop. All right, on to number 4. These are a couple really cool test presses that were gifted to me again. First one is by the one and only Throwback Zach out of San Diego, modern funk artist, one of my favorite modern funk artists. He gifted me this. This was a Saturday Love test press that he did. I believe this was a Tugboat edition version. If not, it was a Star Creature, but one of the two. Test press that he was I was fortunate enough to be gifted by Throwback Zach. And the next one is another 7-inch, and this was gifted to me by the one and only XL Middleton. Shout out to Mo Funk Records, Monica, XL. Shout out to Zachy Force Funk. This was a test press that he gifted to me. Both of them are signed. Something that I will cherish forever. I love modern funk. I also love 7 inches. So these are super near and dear to my collection and my heart, which I will never get rid of. And that is my number 4. I'll explain a little bit more in 5 how I acquired all of these. But that is my number 4 records that I will never get rid of. All right, and on to the last, number 5. This is another group of records, and these mean the most to me with number 4. All of these came about when I joined the Funkettles. We have done a yearly anniversary every year, celebrating another year of funk here in Arizona, and we bring out people that we want to get down with funk-wise. Performances, really give Arizona a show for our appreciation for everyone supporting us through the funk. And every single one of these records that I'm gonna show, it's another group. They are all by people that we have performed with, that we have met through this journey, through this funk journey. Shout out to the Funkettles, Funk Machine, Boogie Monster, Davey D, and all the women that are a part of the group as well too. Shout out to Daryl D. He's always been majorly supportive for the Funkettles journey and our start and how far we've come along so far. So with that being said, let's get into it. The first is a 45 by Social Lovers, and this was a 60 Tuesdays event that was hosted by D-Gents. It had the Social Lovers, and I was invited to spin with them at another event they did, which was at Thunderbird Lounge. So I wanted to get it signed by everybody that performed at the event that day. So it has D-Gents, it has the Social Lovers, Megan and Maddie, and this is really dope. I put the date on there, everything. This was really cool to receive this Star Creature Tugboat Edition 45 right there. Next is another XL Middleton Zachy Force Funk. This was signed at one of our anniversaries. I should have wrote which one it was, but definitely a really cool piece that when we were getting to meet these guys, they signed these their music for us. We got to talk to them about production, what they like about funk music, really cool stuff. So this is a 7-inch. Next, from the man himself, shout out to Trill. Trill brought down the Egyptian Lover and also asked the Funkettles to open up. So we got to perform with the Egyptian Lover, got to talk to him about what it's like being a freakaholic, how he freaks the 808, what it is, what it was like in the 80s, making this stuff. He was a part of like Uncle Jam for a short period. I like all of the history about music and how it all comes about, the culture of it. But this is a really cool piece. It was really awesome to meet the one and only Egyptian Lover. And shout out to Chuck from Trill and everybody else there that made that happen. That was one of the coolest things I experienced with the group. Next, these are some heavy hitters right here. These guys come all the way from Paris, France. They are Amiga, the band, and they were writing these tunes in the 80s, and they weren't pressed until like 2000 sometime. So their original funk, original 80s funksters, but the albums didn't come out till like the 2000s, so I still consider them like the modern funk guys too. So we brought them down from Paris, France for our 7-year anniversary. They all the members of the band signed this album right here. We got to hang out with them at our house. They set up a practice gig in our house, and we got to hear them practice and talk to us about funk overseas. And what a lot of them are artists as well too, which is something that's really cool. I think that it all kind of crosses over and people express themselves in many different ways. I don't know all the names of them. I can tell you it's Loba, it is Pierre, it is a couple others that I'm probably not going to remember right offhand. But shout out to all of the Amiga band. They were very cool. It was awesome hanging out with them. We hope to bring them back again sometime for them in the future. But this one is super awesome. They signed it all at the 7-year anniversary. And yeah, that's the Amiga band. Now, shout out to Zachy Force Funk. Zachy is a hometown hero. He is from Tucson, Arizona, and he is the second half of one of the biggest modern funk songs to ever come out, which is Press Play, him and XL Middleton. Zachy hit us up and was like, hey, we need to get Psychic Mirrors to come out to AZ, and we pretty much got a show together with the Psychic Mirrors, Zachy Force Funk, and Phoenix Funkettles. We made it happen. It was a Crescent Ballroom show, and it was one of the dopest things that happened at the time. It was unexpected. We were super happy to be a part of it, and the Psychic Mirrors signed this. Shout out to Mickey and the rest of the band. But also I brought the flyer. Well, this is like not the flyer, we printed these out, but this is a the show itself. So you got the Psychic Mirrors, the Funkettles, and Zachy Force Funk on there, and we got everyone to sign it. And they're out of Miami, modern funk artists. Really dope show. They said it was one of their favorites on the tour, and they said Arizona got that the love for the funk, and the crowd was amazing. But every single one of these records, we've performed with these guys. We've talked to them. We've got to learn a little bit more about them. They got to learn about Arizona and us bringing up the modern funk and funk in general. But these are my stack of records that I will never get rid of. Shout out to everyone that collects vinyl. I think it's awesome that people still collect vinyl and keep the vinyl, the collection going, and not letting it die out. Digital is cool, but it's always good to have something tangible. Shout out to the Master Blasters, my artist crew. Shout out to Daryl D. Shout out to the Phoenix Funk Ghettos. And these are 5 records, groups of records that I will never get rid of. And thank you again, Daryl, for having me on. Peace, everybody.